Hi, this is Kasian, and it's time for a weekly conference call at VectorspaceAI. We'll start with what's happening around the world. Vaccine distribution continues while a new strain of the virus has shown itself in England. Cybersecurity is in the headlines, continues to be in the headlines. We mentioned it last week with the SolarWinds attack. And speaking of attacks, this was broad, and the implications are unknown. And that means that several Fortune 1000 companies were hit, along with organizations, academic institutions, and of course, this connects directly to our industry as well. The markets are continuing to weather all of this uncertainty here as they make new highs. So things are going to get real interesting in terms of how things will reconcile. On the industry side, BTC hit 24K, making new highs, ETH mid 600s, and demand for cryptocurrency is increasing every day. There are new corporations, new publicly traded companies taking positions in BTC, new hedge funds, traditional market funds taking positions in ETH as well. And these include not just the well-knowns like Grayscale, but new companies for the very first time are dipping their feet in these waters. And we, of course, anticipate all crypto to be affected one way or the other by this and to sectorize. Demand for NLP also continues to rise across all industries. In our themes and events section, we have the thematic basket of AstraZeneca's acquisition of Alexion. We have its performance, and it performed pretty well, 5.74%, while the S&P returned 0.93%. And we'll be continuing to monitor the performance of that basket along with a few others, including the Aerojet Rocketdyne basket. This thematic basket was based on Lockheed Martin's $4.4 billion acquisition of Aerojet Rocketdyne. They're a publicly traded company, so you can look them up and look at the premium that was paid for it, but you can also look at the basket of stocks that were generated and their return. And there was a recent study that found that metolazone, a blood pressure drug, extended the life of nematodes, small worms. So this could be a big deal. But the thematic basket for metolazone, we're curating that right now. We generated it earlier today. Just takes seconds to generate, but it's all in the filtering and the curating. Shouldn't say all, but a lot of the alpha is extracted from the filtering and curation. So we'll be monitoring that basket, and we'll publish the results. And then, of course, we're still under themes and events, and another big theme this week was the cybersecurity theme. And that's an overarching theme, similar to what we talked about last week, which means that sub-themes, subtopics, subcategories, subsets of baskets of baskets can be created under cybersecurity. On the corporate side, we are going to be raising in small tranches, and that's to notify anyone who was looking to do an OTC deal with the company. We're actually not doing any OTC deals. We are raising a round of capital, which in the future may include OTC deals. In the interim, we are raising small tranches, and these would be OTC deals until we conclude raising our final capital raise, till we close on that. On the engineering, product, and ops side, we're revising an onboarding document that will be given to CloudQuant customers. these are traders and institutions that need a Coin Metro account so that they can begin taking positions in VXV to gain access to the datasets that they will trial. We're also, under engineering, product, and ops, we're also working on a demo. And this demo is going to be a video visualization. You have probably seen visualizations or videos of visualizations that show you how something has changed over time. We're going to show the returns of the coronavirus basket and how they have increased over time, upwards of 3,000% for a couple of components in the basket. One component, I think it was Invex. We are also going to be working on S&P APIs, continued integration of those. And that actually connects to the demo with the pricing and historical data. We use a number of data sources, a number of APIs, and we are slowly decoupling from our current APIs that provide us with certain kinds of financial data, from indicators to pricing data to fundamental data to crypto data. And we are replacing as much as we can with S&P APIs. Under customers, partners, and collaborators, everything is ongoing there. We have more than enough to do. This means that we are being introduced constantly to new quant funds, new hedge funds, family offices, and we can only service so many at a time. So this means we do throttle our relationships, but more importantly, we're prioritizing based on quickest path to revenue and based on whether or not these funds are crypto friendly, and especially crypto friendly to VXV, of course. That's what they'll be using to access the datasets. On the sales and marketing side, we kind of connects to what we just mentioned here. We have a focus on new data and we have a focus on cloud quant. Both represent massive numbers of funds and customers, institutions, and so forth. And we also have a couple of big name institutions that we are servicing. We've talked about them before, and there's not much more to say related to them, with the exception that they'll be testing out our data sets through a trial agreement. And that would mean they'll need VXV for that. And that would also mean that we would have we maintain a fiduciary responsibility to notify all participators and stakeholders of VectorSpaceAI related to any significant events or material events related to the company. And that would include trial agreements. We're also working with, as mentioned, a number of small quant funds. And I'm not going to name them off for confidentiality reasons and because there are just too many. Exchanges. Under exchanges, I have a note here that says we are ongoing, and that really just means that we have sent Kraken the PR that was released by CloudQuant to give them an update on what's happening with Vectorspace. On the IR, PR, and Marcom side, so CloudQuant issued a PR, and you'll notice that in the PR they included a graphic that said powered by CloudQuant. We're fine with that. We usually don't allow that. We're not powered by anybody, with the exception of our revenue distribution partners, which CloudQuant is one of them. Our revenue distribution partners would also include S&P Global. And providing us with distribution pipelines is a way that these partners empower us. They also empower themselves in terms of taking a 30% cut on the revenue. With CloudQuant, it's a 35% cut. At any rate, the PR was just one in a series of PRs that we'll be issuing with CloudQuant. And Jim, our PR agency in New York, they're going to follow up with a few PRs related to this as well. We'll also be conducting a webinar in January with CloudQuant. January according to their schedule here. And New Data will be conducting a webinar in January as well with them. And we'll also have New Data talk to the world about their relationship with VectorspaceAI, similar to CloudQuant's communication. And the same goes for S&P Global. Every data set is a PR. Every data set is a product. Every data set is a platform. Every platform has the ability to roll out products. You can roll out products across a platform. You can build products on top of a platform. Third parties can build products on top of a platform. So with the data set being a platform and a product at the same time, that enables us to issue a merited PR related to a unique and powerful high-value data set, which we have many of. And that would include all of our partners issuing PRs related to a new data set that we release. We'll initially be releasing a data set that includes 500 pharmas by 500 pharmas. It's a correlation matrix data set. So 500 pharmaceutical companies for the rows, 500 pharmaceutical companies for the columns. And then we'll have another data set that we'll release in combination, which would be 500 pharmaceutical companies for the rows and 100 drug compounds for the columns. This enables any organization, any institution to cluster publicly traded pharmaceutical companies around a drug compound. So if one pharmaceutical company makes a breakthrough with a drug compound or finds maybe a repositioning, repurposing of that drug compound and announces it, you can go to this data set and extract a cluster of publicly traded pharmaceutical companies that have hidden relationships, known and unknown relationships to that compound. So that's what the data sets are used for, those two data sets. And there's going to be another PR related to those two data sets and their availability across all of our distribution partners. So this is a network, our network of distribution partners, which includes S&P Global, New Data, CloudQuant, and a few others. All of them will be issuing PRs related to new data sets that we release. The next data set we'll release will likely be based on some kind of emerging technology. Maybe we'll use a design submitted by our community. We'll see. But my point here, since we're under IR, PR, and Marcom, is that every data set is a PR. Every data set is a merited product and platform. Next, we'll go to questions from the trader base. First question is, will there be any OTC sales to CloudQuant or its traders? What about New Data and BlackRock? Thank you. Okay, there won't be any OTC sales, with one exception. In terms of executing a strategic partnership or a joint venture or an investment, a direct investment, equity investment into the company by one of these groups, then there will likely be some kind of OTC deal with VXV. Unless they just completely buy at market, which I don't think they're going to do. The next question, does the AI NLP include a translation feature to extract data from journals, websites, or other data sources from multiple languages? Yes, it does. Next question, if you, for example, want to analyze YouTube data from videos based on content or Netflix, would YouTube be permissible if it's not paywalled and Netflix not be able to be included due to the subscription needed? Okay, so that was a question, and the answer to that question is yes. The next question, when do you think that buybacks will start? The answer to that question is soon. And followed with, we implore everyone to focus on the revenue and the customer acquisition and retention. Everything else will follow. The next question, I understand the datasets, love them, and use data all the time in my job. No issue there. Let's say dataset 1 is linked to tokens A, B, and C, and you have them in your wallet. You also have dataset 2 linked to tokens D, E, and F. You decide to sell them on an exchange, which just comes up as a number of tokens and a price. How do we, A, know which datasets are attached, and B, buy specific tokens without having to buy others? We have internal mappings that we maintain, and it's similar to a database schema. And there are also API keys. Everybody has a wallet address associated to your VXV. That wallet address is associated to either the free tier level of services we offer or to a paid tier. And we have unique tiers. So every customer gets a unique service level, tiered service level, where price varies. The next question is, my worry is that Exchange VXV is okay, that we don't need to answer that one. The next question, when the team IPOs due to the VXV's low amount of float, will traditional markets be competing with crypto exchanges, including future exchanges which will be listing VXV? Essentially, we have on both hands traditional and crypto markets matching buyers and sellers, hence the trading vehicle being split between the two. So, first off, the float is fine. Google went out at 8 million, Netflix went out at 5 million. So we're okay there. And then when it comes to VXV being traded in the traditional markets and in the crypto markets, that would be just like a stock being traded on NASDAQ and on the LSE, the London Stock Exchange, or an ADR being traded on a US exchange. Realistically, they would have extremely similar trading patterns, and the reason for that would be arbitrage players, making sure the price is right. The next question, taking into consideration that some customers and investors will be holding a significant portion in their wallets for dataset subscriptions on the crypto side, will this further reduce the float? Yes. The next question, when should we expect a new data PR? I answered that. That was January. How do I join the investment club? That's the next question. Feel free to DM us on the Telegram channel. Next, we've got our strategy section. And under strategy, I have a note that says PR. So our PR strategy is now in full swing, and this relates to things that we are doing with new data, Cloud Quant, and our PR agency in New York, along with a few other consultants. One of the things that we'll be doing as part of our PR strategy, we'll be publishing the results of our thematic basket, but more importantly, publishing the results of the coronavirus basket. That's going to lead to a flood of PR for us. The results of that basket are one of the primary reasons that we have got large institutions talking to us, and small institutions. So we're going to continue to do this. And one of the things that we might do is put together a subreddit. And I just want to mention that Reddit is a place where we have parked a presence, you might say. We have a subreddit there. But it's also a place that has a lot of eyeballs. So we want to pay attention to where the people are. And that's where they are. There's a constant mention of it on CNBC. There is also hundreds of thousands of traders and millions of crypto traders that we want to pay attention to, all interested in thematic baskets on the crypto side and on the traditional side, and both, and hedged. And next, on the strategic side, we want to talk about cybersecurity and how it relates to what we do. Real quick. Data provenance, data lineage, data governance. They all relate to data security. That's all cybersecurity here. And our focus on data provenance, data lineage, and data governance and data security, that's the same focus our customers have. It's the thing that they bring up first. How do you guys know your data is good? That's what they ask. Where does your data come from? Is it compliant? Do other people have access to the data? Is it actually public? Is it behind a firewall? Are you buying it? Is it proprietary? Can we add our own proprietary data? How do we secure it? How do we make sure that it's not tampered with? How do we make sure it's immutable? That is VXV. That's our application right there. The data provenance pipeline hash. That's in our diagrams, and that's half of what we do. And half of the value of VXV. The other half is the data set. A data set is not valuable if you can't tell where it came from, or if you can't tell that the data, you can't have some level of confidence in the integrity of the data. So that's data provenance, data lineage, and data governance, data security. And that relates to cybersecurity, very important aspect of what we do, securing our data sets. And then let's talk about our TAM, our total addressable market. And a few have asked us, well, how can you say that our TAM is larger than all others combined? One of the reasons we can say that is because every company right now produces data in every industry. It wasn't always like this. And as data grows and as software grows, more data is generated at an exponential rate. From the data come data sets, and you can create data sets of data sets of data sets of data sets, just like you can with derivatives, except without any risk. So we look at every company running a data engineering pipeline, and every data engineering pipeline needing data sets. So our total addressable market is every industry, and any company, individual, institution, organization running a data engineering pipeline or needing to run a data engineering pipeline. Every data set belongs to a sector as well. So you might think of it this way. Every sector of data sets represents an industry, represents a division of this company. This has been a pre-recorded call. If you'd like to submit any questions, please feel free to do so online. Otherwise, we'll see you next week.